Folks, I'm not the only person talking about this today, but I feel like I gotta talk about it anyway. Listen to this. So this is tpusa. I think this is like broadly a Christian group, but so there are two very noteworthy things he says here.
Again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
So first of all, him just straightforwardly saying he's not a Christian is incredibly funny. He just said that, he just blurted that out to a Christian group. He spent years saying he's a Christian. There are literally tens of millions of Americans who say, I think he went to say, I'm a Christian. You really heard that? That's what you heard?
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian. I think he said, I'm not Christian. Okay, we all know internally that Donald Trump isn't religious, right? Like, we're not stupid enough to believe that he thinks he's religious. There's literally no... to me, it's honestly more likely he just blurted out, that's definitely an ah. I mean, with him, it's kind of hard to tell. Personally, I think not, but whatever. Okay, that's the one. This is the prelude to the other thing. I don't know if you noticed, you know, kind of like the, how many times, like, did you see the dancing gorilla and how many times did they pass the ball back and forth? 4 times he repeated, you're not going to have to vote again. One time would have been, if he had just said it once, I think you could fairly write it off as a, like, I can't run again after the next term anyway sort of thing. Like, it would be sort of ambiguous. You could call it a dog whistle if you wanted. He said that shit like 4 times, man. That was pretty unambiguous. That was pretty straightforward. He literally shook his head when he said, I'm not Christian. Okay, this is not really the part we should be focusing on right now. He's openly admitting that he doesn't intend on preserving American democracy. But okay, we'll look at him shake his head.
It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
Yeah, he shook his head there. I really think he just blurted out, I'm not Christian. Like, he's saying it the same way he would say, you blacks, yeah, blacks for Trump, we love you. I'm not black, but, you know, I feel like it's genuinely in the same vein for him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It genuinely doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. Anyway, one more time, just for the folks in the back, you know, the nosebleed seats, the people who don't pay $5 a month on my website. Thank you. For the YouTube seat.
Christians, get out and vote just this time.
Just this time.
You won't have to do it anymore.
You won't have to do it anymore.
Years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians.
It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore.
Christians, I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you.
I'm not Christian.
You get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it.
In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed. 4 times. It'll be fixed as the clincher. Yeah, dude, he's literally, I don't even know what to say, man. He's just openly saying it. I don't like, it's just, this was just from earlier this morning, I think, or was it last night? It was last night, or last afternoon, his time. Maybe it's a Freudian slip. It's Donald Trump. He can't keep his shit in, you know? He's talking to the Heritage Foundation. He's talking to the policymakers. He's talking to the Project 2025 people, and they're telling him, like, no, unambiguously, the plan is to end democracy. That's unambiguously, the whole point of Project 2025 is the unitary executive theory. The idea that all power is subsumed by the executive branch with Trump in office. It's not, the dictatorship thing isn't just hysterical leftist warbling. This isn't like a wise leftists recognize the signs of fascism. This is unambiguously the written plan. It's the text of the plan. It's not subtext. Thankfully, this is getting picked up on, at least to some extent. I mean, the media isn't completely letting this slide.
This be America's last election if Donald Trump wins. Listen to what the former president told a Christian group at the Turning Point USA Believers Summit in West Palm Beach. The former president telling the crowd that if they re-elect him to the White House, they won't have to worry about voting ever again.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians.
This is a gift to the Harris campaign. They need to be running this. This is like, you got $500 million in advertising money for the campaign. This needs to be on like every television station 24/7 from now until the election.
I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
He said it 3 times. Now, the Harris for President campaign releasing this statement after the former president's speech tonight, saying, quote, America can do better than the bitter, bizarre, and backward-looking delusions of criminal Donald Trump.
I love how much more mean Harris is. Joe Biden would be like, you know, the soul and spirit of America lies in the freedom of choice, and Americans will choose on November which they prefer to. And Harris is like, Trump, he's ugly, he's fat, he's stupid, he's gonna lose.
Vice President Kamala Harris offers a vision for America's future focused on freedom, opportunity, and security. Hello.
That statement is really short because, again, it was what was released like immediately afterwards. We haven't seen the full blowback from this. We haven't seen like the full, I guess, reckoning. I've been looking on Twitter. Right-wingers are saying it's out of context. It's not out of context. CNN coverage from just an hour ago.
The Republican presidential nominee claimed that rival Kamala Harris had been disrespectful to Israel.
4-year-olds.
4 years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. Genuine, like what possible context could you add to that? What way could you reconstruct this to remove from it this meaning? Yeah, I do, Benjamin, you're right. I do like the direct connection between Christians and ending American democracy.
Over to you.
Yeah? Wait, hold on.
So good you're not going to have to vote.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes analysis really does fail. Yeah. Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, I mean,
literally, they're like,
everybody on Twitter has been playing that and replaying that. Democrats, academics, saying this is what he wants to do. He wants to shut down democracy. You know, what is the phrase? One vote, one man, one time. But I think Donald Trump is well known for playing to his audience. He sort of is willing to forget the fact that the world is also watching his words. He was speaking to Christians. It certainly sounds like a president that is a presidential candidate that is determined to shut down the democratic process, but it could.
I like how and you can tell from her cadence, just from her cadence, that she's not like an aggressive or alarmist kind of commentator when it comes to Trump. You know what I mean? Like she's not the kind of person who would run off with a narrative, and there's still nothing to say, but like it sounds like President Trump wants to do a dictatorship, you know? And it's like, yeah, I guess it's really, she sounds like she's trying to say, no, I don't think she's trying to say in denial. I just think they're like at a loss of words, at a loss for words. It's kind of like, even for Trump, an uncharacteristically direct acknowledgement of his intentions, you know? Don't think that this was some kind of like 5D chess thing from Trump or from his team or whatever. I promise you they're all upset behind the scenes by this, you know? They don't want to give the game away that obviously. Libs in the face of an actual threat get paralyzed. I'm not trying to say that I'm smarter than this lady. I mean, I probably am. I don't know. Just like she's on CNN. I mean, you can take from that what you want. But I'm just trying to say, like, I'm kind of dumbfounded too. What analysis do I add to this? You know? It's so straightforward. By the way, in terms of like giving ammunition to Kamala's team, this was, hold on, audio check. There you go. Sorry. This was unearthed literally the same, just today by Kamala HQ, the little like quick action, quick response Kamala Twitter team. You know, I think this is relatively recent, but not immediately recent. So my guess is this is within the past few months. If somebody could confirm that, I'd like that. Listen to JD Vance endorse Project 2025, the thing that is so optically damaging that Donald Trump pretends to not know about it or support it.
I think that the thing that we have to take away from the last 10 years is that we really need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power. I was talking about this with someone earlier today, where you remember there was some threat that congressional or Senate Republicans made. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And you actually look at it, it's like, oh, this is not that interesting.
Like, we're going to actually deliver on our promises that we've made for decades.
Right. Like,
Sounds
this is the threat. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do this stuff. Like, they're talking about expanding the Supreme Court. They're talking about adding, 2 senators from heavily Democratic places.
You get rid of the filibuster, we'll actually deliver on defunding.
We'll do what the base has been telling us that we don't want to do.
Yeah. So I think, look, I am a cynic about this and maybe even a little bit of a pessimist, but I think the challenge confronting American conservatives is that we have lost every major powerful institution in the country, except for maybe churches and religious institutions, which of course are weak.
The Supreme Court. The court.
Weaker now than they've ever been. We have lost big business. We've lost finance. We've lost the culture. We've lost
big business. We've lost finance. Yeah, man, that's so true. Big business hates fascism. That's like the first thing everyone knows about fascists. They don't get along with big business.
The Academy, and if we're going,
the Academy. The Oscars? You didn't lose the Oscars. You never had the Oscars. What do you mean? What? Oh, yeah, the great American institutions, big business, finance, and the Oscars. He means universities? Oh, did he say academics? I heard the Academy.
We've lost the culture. We've lost the Academy.
I think he means the Oscars, man. That's pretty clearly the Academy. Keep in mind that Republicans are obsessed with Hollywood. Yeah, culture, the Academy. He means movies, man.
And
I think he means academia. I don't think he means that. I think he means the Academy. Don't underestimate how obsessive conservatives are with Hollywood, okay?
If we're going to actually...
I heard economy? You should go to a doctor. The Academy can mean academia? No, it can't. I have literally never heard that use in my life. Maybe in a different language, not in English, not to Americans. Maybe this is like a British English thing. That's not. Maybe he meant My Hero Academia. Maybe he said like My Hero Academia went woke or something.
Really affect real change in the country, it will require us completely replacing the existing ruling class with another ruling class. I say
again, remember what I've said before about insincere populism that's not rooted in Marxist academic theory? How rather than a solid concrete definition of the elites that is rooted in like a material cause, you can say, oh, like for example, like not the elites, the monarchy, that's a specific institution. Or like, I don't know, the bourgeoisie, you can point to a specific class of people that are empowered by a specific set of rules, and you can do something with that. When he says the ruling class, he means like globalist George Soros Jews. That's what he means. It always goes back to like vague conspiratorial populist posting, because if he meant the ultra wealthy, the ultra wealthy vote Republican. If you mean the bourgeoisie, which he doesn't, he's a fascist, not a Marxist, you know, then he would use other terminology. It always goes back to like vague, nebulous, meaningless so-and-so Jews.
That knowing and hearing myself, it sounds really hard. It is really hard, but I don't think there's like a detent with these people. I don't think there's sort of a compromise that we're going to come with the people who currently actually control the country unless we...
The people who actually control the country. Please remember and never forget, J.D. Vance is like an internet neo-Nazi troll who was empowered by a gay billionaire, Peter Thiel. That's the person we're dealing with here. We're dealing with someone who is effectively like a slut for billionaire finance, who claims like to be a populist, to be like from working Appalachia, when in reality he's like if inflated by you know, like corporate investment, and all of his populism is completely toothless.
Overthrow them in some way, we're going to keep losing, and that's the
overthrow them.
Actually control the country. Unless we overthrow them in some way, we're going to keep losing.
Damn, he's actually a Nazi. Oh no, he's a Nazi. He was literally following like multiple Nazi accounts on Twitter that he hastily unfollowed after being picked for VP, which is insane. His like extremely high IQ Pepe posting so-called populism is literally the same shit that you would hear at Poll or any other place like that. It's indistinguishable. He is definitely a Nazi. Not exactly uncommon, like in the Republican Party. There are Nazis in elected offices. There are Nazi staffers. Nazism is the like end state of white supremacist conspiracist fascism. It's like there are not an infinite number of ideologies. You know how there are like a million weirdo ideologies that all basically just mean fascism, and there are a million weirdo variants of like wonky liberalism that all basically boil down to neoliberalism? There are not infinite permutations of political and economic ideologies. There are a finite number of them, and you get drawn in towards the path of least resistance when you're trying to get work done within a given like system. You know, you're not going to push your way through and like hold on to every weird idiosyncrasy that's specific to your personal brand of not fascism. You're just going to bend the knee and like allow your points to be bent inwards until eventually you fit the mold and you can move forward, you know, the most easily. Nazism is the end point of that path, and he is one. There are a million different leftist ideologies. That's why there's always infighting. Incorrect. There are actually just a few. You have people who are willing to work with electoralism and people who are not. People who have a proper view of geopolitics and campists. There are just a few. There are like there are like permutations on the form, but fundamentally they form camps and basically agree on the important parts. And like meaningfully, if they attain power, there are only so many directions they could go in. There's a reason why like every dictator claims to have their own variant of an ideology, but they all end up doing the exact same shit. Co-founder of Project 2025, Kevin Roberts, who linked this and why.
The good news, I told you I would tell you why it's bad, maybe add a little bit of color, but also tell you why we're going to win. We are winning. There are a lot of victories that have been secured. Some of them are partial, some of them in ways that the other side doesn't yet know are foundations for what's coming. And that's just the beginning. And we're not going to tell you everything that's coming. Because for the first time that I'm aware of, the conservative movement, or as I really like to put it, the common sense movement in the United States has really nothing to do with ideology, is ready to fight.
Yeah. Villain speech. Deference to unideological common sense is also a pretty common fascist point. This is just from 2 days ago. Man, we're getting a lot of material on like the openly dictatorial nature of the Republican Party. That's crazy. Nobody cares partial comprehension. Nobody, he was not referring to academia when he said the academy. I don't understand the reflexive contrarianism. He was talking about Hollywood. People love to argue about shit that doesn't matter. Tonight, Donald Trump couldn't pronounce words, insulted the faith of Jewish and Catholic Americans, lied about the election again, lied about other stuff. This is the energy that I want, by the way, for Kamala's campaign. Lied about other stuff. Yes, he did. Bragged about repealing Roe, proposed cutting billions in education funding, announced he would appoint more extremist judges, revealed he planned to fill a second Trump term with more criminals like himself, attack lawful voting, so da-da-da-da. Wonderful stuff. That was like right after, too. They're probably going to run with a lot of attack ads using language from that That you're not going to have to vote again bit. I agree, Thana. Calling Vance creepy is a more effective argument than almost anything else that you could levy against him. Because all the shit that he says, like, again, the things that Republican candidates like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump say are already objectively, empirically wrong. If their base was convinced by empirical reality, then they wouldn't be supporting those guys to begin with. It's a vibes election. I'm really sorry. Also, Huff takes giant drag of cigarette. I am encouraging conservatives to please keep posting this shit. Right after the House GOP issued a statement to please stop talking about Kamala Harris's race, Crowder, everyone else, please, I beg of you, please keep posting this shit, okay? It's great. It's fantastic. We're not winning Georgia hard enough yet. Anyone else feel like Georgia could get a little bit bluer, you know? Holy shit, is this real? Yeah. It's not even remotely surprised. Steven Crowder is incredibly racist. The argument is so bad, they're saying she's not African-American because she's part Jamaican and Indian. I don't suppose it occurred to them that Jamaican influence is one of the most, like, powerful and long-lasting, I guess, like, markers on African-American culture. Like, perchance. What's it say on his shirt? Alex Jones was right, changed my mind. Georgia State Election Board up to shenanigans? They're gonna have to be. Statement on Trump's promise to end democracy. Fucking yes, man! Why did Joe Biden refuse to engage in this language for so long? Say it directly. When VP Harris says this election is about freedom, she means it. Our democracy is under assault by criminal Donald Trump. After the last election Trump lost, he sent a mob to overturn the results. This campaign, he's promised violence if he loses, the end of our elections if he wins, and the termination of the Constitution to empower him to be a dictator to enact his dangerous Project 2025 agenda on America. It's good. Why was Biden's team so insistent on being pussies? You know what's crazy? The staffers posting this stuff on social media are the same staffers from Biden's team. Yeah, but they're operating under different directions now. You know, since they're on like Harris for president here, the campaign staffers have transferred over. They're listening to different people now. I don't know all the behind the scenes shenaniganry. I bet you the people making these posts are happy now that they've finally become unburdened, you know? Like before they wanted to say this stuff and the Joe Biden team was like, well, no, you can't say that because that'd be rude or whatever. Now they're allowed to be red-pilled. Okay, new rule. Never, ever, ever link anything from Newswire again. Why link from Newswire? They never cite their shit. They don't provide a link or anything. They're just like, yeah, this is happening. I just looked it up. I can't find it. Like, they just say shit. Okay, here we go. Here's the source. Allegedly. From Punchbowl News. The Oregon Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential bid has energized Latino voters. Per data from Voto Latino, the Oregon seen a 117,000% increase in Latinos registering to vote in the day since Harris announced her bid compared to the previous week. And yet this says Latinos see 117% increase in registrations to vote in days after vice president. They don't mention that org, Voto Latino, implying that this is an across-the-board thing. This is a terrible fucking Twitter account. Never link it again. They just lie. Still good news for Arizona? Well, there's been an increasing rightward shift for a while now from Latin Americans. We'll see how that continues. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I gotta read donos.